Chip Walter began his career wanting to write, but initially couldn't find anyone to pay him for it after college. He started in newspapers, then moved to magazines, and eventually found his way to television. He became a bureau chief at Cable News Network when it launched. Feeling tired of disposable news, Walter transitioned to creating documentaries for PBS, which led to writing his first book, Space Age, for Random House. He then collaborated with William Shatner on a book about Star Trek. Eventually, Walter was able to write the kinds of books he wanted to write. Fascinated by high technology, he realized that understanding human evolution was key to solving technological problems. This led him to write 2 books about human evolution, Thumbs, Toes, and Tears, and Last Ape Standing. These books explored why humans behave the way they do, both in terms of our destructive and remarkable capabilities. Walter's interest in science and technology led him to write Immortality Inc. in 2020. The book explored whether we are at a point in human history where our technology is advanced enough to potentially solve aging and eliminate death. He spent almost 4 years researching and writing the book, including extensive travel in 2016 to interview key figures in the field. The book discusses various scientists and their work, including Art Levinson at Calico, Craig Venter, Ray Kurzweil, Aubrey de Grey, and Robert Hariri. Walter explored why these experts were dedicating their efforts to solving death and the science behind their work. He also investigated interesting findings about certain animals that don't seem to age, such as bowhead whales and Greenland sharks. Walter notes that while human lifespans haven't necessarily become more resilient over time, advancements in sanitation, medicine, and drugs have allowed people to live longer. However, he points out that people are often living longer, but not necessarily better, with issues like dementia becoming almost universal by age 90. The book discusses various approaches to extending human lifespan, including stem cell therapy and efforts to understand and manipulate the genetic switches that control aging. Walter shares predictions from figures like Ray Kurzweil about potential timelines for significant life extension, with Kurzweil believing that by the late 2020s, we may be able to extend life by 1 year for every year lived, and by the early 2030s, nanotechnology could potentially reverse aging. Walter's book, Last Ape Standing, explored why humans are the only surviving hominin species. He explains that over the last 6 million years, there have been at least 29 hominin species, with at least 5 living simultaneously at one point. These included Denisovans, Neanderthals, Homo sapiens, Homo erectus, and Homo floresiensis. Walter argues that humans survive due to being slightly more flexible and adaptable. He discusses the concept of neoteny, where humans are born very young and helpless compared to other animals. This extended period of development allows personal experience to shape the rapidly developing brain, making humans more unique, creative, and adaptable than other species. The conversation touches on why there's such a large gap between humans and the next closest primate. Walter explains that the other intelligent hominins that existed alongside early humans have gone extinct, likely due to a combination of factors, including competition with humans, interbreeding, and environmental challenges. The podcast delves into various technological advancements and their potential impacts on humanity. Walter discusses the concept of downloading human consciousness into machines, which is the premise of his novel, Doppelganger. This idea raises numerous ethical and philosophical questions about identity, consciousness, and the nature of existence. The conversation explores the rapid advancement of artificial intelligence and its potential to both solve problems and create new challenges. Walter emphasizes the need to carefully consider the implications of these powerful technologies, drawing parallels to past technological advancements that had unforeseen consequences. The discussion touches on the potential for human augmentation through nanotechnology, as predicted by figures like Ray Kurzweil. Walter suggests that such augmentation may become necessary for humans to keep pace with advancing AI and avoid becoming the new Neanderthals. The podcast also covers topics such as overpopulation concerns related to life extension, the potential need for off-planet expansion, and the challenges of preserving human knowledge and culture in the face of potential catastrophic events. Walter shares his experiences researching cryonics for Immortality Inc., including time spent at Alcor Life Extension Foundation. He describes the process of cryopreservation and the hope that future technology will be able to reanimate preserved individuals. He notes that while the technology to reanimate anyone doesn't currently exist, some view cryopreservation as a gamble worth taking. The conversation touches on the financial aspects of cryopreservation, including the use of life insurance policies to fund the process. Walter also discusses the potential long-term implications and challenges of reanimation, such as legal and financial issues that might arise if someone is successfully brought back to life in the distant future. Walter shares his experiences visiting one of the world's blue zones, areas where people tend to live unusually long lives. He describes his visit to Ikaria, a Greek island where people routinely live into their late 90s or even to 100 years old. He attributes the longevity of Ikaria's residents to factors such as regular physical activity, strong social connections, low stress, and a healthy diet. Walter discusses his current project, a journey around the world with his wife that avoids air travel. They're documenting their experiences on a website called Vagabond Adventure. The trip has taken them across multiple continents, using various modes of transportation such as ships, cars, trains, and even mules. He shares that the experience has given him a deep appreciation for the diversity of cultures, landscapes, and people around the world. He mentions that one of his biggest takeaways from the journey has been the extraordinary people they've met, particularly other serious travelers. The trip has allowed them to immerse themselves in different cultures, languages, cuisines, and environments, providing a rich tapestry of experiences to compare and contrast. Throughout the conversation, Walter reflects on the rapid pace of technological change and its implications for society. He expresses concern about the potential for technology to outpace our ability to adapt culturally and politically. He emphasizes the need for careful consideration of the downstream effects of new technologies, drawing parallels to unforeseen consequences of past innovations like the automobile's impact on climate. The discussion touches on the challenges posed by the overwhelming amount of information available in the digital age, including the difficulty of discerning truth from misinformation. Walter suggests that the very technologies that create these challenges might also be part of the solution, such as using AI to help anticipate and mitigate potential negative outcomes.